Fishing and shit hit the fan. Dudes, this info dump is coming in hot. I'm basically just going to throw a ton of information out there about what fishing methods I feel are going to be most effective when everything's falling apart and you got to feed yourself and feed your family. All right. And this video is very necessary because throughout my years, I've heard a lot of survivalists and preppers talk about how they're going to run off to their favorite fishing spot with their rod and reel or their fly rod and their flies when everything falls apart, and they're just going to live life out there and live great and eat fish all day long. Guys, that's not how it's going to go down. But in addition to that, those are not the most effective methods to feed yourself and your family. They're not. Modern sports fishing is fun, it's challenging, but it's not the most effective method. The most effective methods, as a matter of fact, are illegal. So yes, I'm going to teach you a whole bunch of illegal shit in this video. And like I said, guys, it's an info dump. But you know it's going to be lit. So go ahead and freaking like the video and subscribe, because my plan is to go ahead and do videos where I show you guys how I employ each of these tactics. Yes, even including the illegal ones. Don't expect me to tell you where I'm located when I do it, and don't expect me to actually keep any of the fish I catch, because that would make it extra illegal. But you get the idea, okay? Your government does not want you to know this shit. They don't want you training to use it. They don't want you to know it. They want you to stand at a bread line. When everything falls apart, they want you to come in with your wristband or your freaking barcode tattooed on your forearm and stand in line every 2 weeks to get some shitty, meager ration. They need you to need them. What's that song? I want you to want me. I want you to want me. I need you to need me. I love you to love me. You guys get the idea. All right? That's how they are, man. And I can't stand that fucking song. Cheap Trick's not bad in like every way, you know, but I hear that song and I think about the government, so I hate it. But yeah, they need you to need them. That's what they really want, okay? So they don't want you to know this shit. I'm going to teach it to you because knowledge is power. And the more you know, the more power you have, and the more free you can be. So this shit is super, super important, pimps. Save this video on your damn YouTube, man. Let's get right after it, guys. The first method, and the one that I feel is probably, I'm not going to say it's the best, but it's one of my preferred methods, really, is going to be the basket style fish trap. You guys have probably seen pictures of these. It's like a basket that's got like a cone-shaped entrance on one side. The hole size is important. You know, if you're trying to catch fish that are this big, but the hole's only this big, guess what? It's not going to work very good. So think about that. But the basic method by which you employ these is you put the guts of animals in them, the carcass of an animal you've eaten or parts of one in the trap, and you toss it out in the water. Ponds, lakes, rivers. There's a little bit of different considerations we need to make for rivers, but when it comes to ponds and lakes, you just want it to be in a spot where no one's going to see it in the water. So up against a bit of a shelf, you know, just kind of out of the way. That's going to work just fine. You do want it to be in deeper water, if at all possible. A lot of times the big fish don't like to come into the shallows. They want to stay in the deep, cool water. When it comes to rivers, you want these to be in eddies or in places where the water is moving slowly. And of course, my rooster always tries to do everything he can to distract me in every damn video. He's lucky he's still alive. Eddies, let's talk about those real quick. What an eddy basically is the water is flowing this direction. Well, some places along the shoreline, it's going to create like a circular motion. It's going to actually go back upstream a bit and kind of circle around. That's like a resting spot for fish because there's not a lot of current right there, and they like that. They don't want to spend a lot of calories out flapping their tails constantly to stay in the same place. So they like to get into eddies and slow-moving water. That's what you're looking at in a river. We're just going to use a river as our example here. So you're going to fill your trap with guts or a small carcass or whatever. I got one of my bees coming to say hi. Hello, bee. Yeah, slow-moving part of the river. You got your guts, got everything in the trap. You want your trap tied off with either olive green or tan 550 cord or natural cordage, something that's going to blend in. And you don't want it taut. Okay, you don't want it in a line like this. If someone's coming upstream in a canoe, you don't want them to see that. You want it to blend in. So you want to have plenty of slack there. You want to be able to get that trap out in a spot where it's not going to be seen. Keep in mind that if the water's very clear, you're going to have to hide it more, like kind of against the bank or something like that. Whereas if it's murky or muddy, you don't have to worry about it so much. The 550 cord on the shore is going to be tied off to the bottom of a small tree or branch or even a clump of weeds, whatever it's going to be. But the goal is that the first time you go out to check your traps, you actually have to look for them. You're like, shit, I can't see it. Okay. You don't want to use orange 550 cord or something like that, because any clown that comes walking around the freaking shore there is going to see it and he's going, what's this? You're going to pull up your trap, he's going to take your damn fish out of it, and then he's going to camp that spot and wait and see where you come from later to check your traps. And you don't want that. If you're doing this in the spring, you need to think about like the temperatures, possible snow melt that's going to swell the river, because all of a sudden the water level can be 18 inches higher, and now that slow moving water is not slow moving anymore. And it's going to take that trap you made out of natural materials that took you an entire freaking day, and it's going to pull it super taut, it's going to break it, and it's going to send it downstream somewhere. You don't want that to happen. So there could become times where you have to pull these from the water or have to move them to different locations. The second kind of fish trap I like is called a fish weir. It's basically where you stack rocks in like a river or at the like near the shore of a pond or a lake, and you stack them in a way where fish will come through a funnel, and the opening at the end is just wide enough to let them in. And when they get through that opening, they find themselves in a little pond. And we're talking small, guys. I want you to think kiddie pool. The goal is that you can get in there and grab these fish with your bare hands and throw them on the shore and club them. What if you don't have a fishing net? Do you really want to have to make some kind of fishing spear and be in there trying to like dicking around with that and possibly stabbing yourself in the foot because you've never speared fish before? No, you don't want to screw around with that. You want to be able to get in there, throw them out of the water, freaking club them. You're done. All right. Now, the big problems with fish weirs, guys, is that anyone walking near the shore is going to see them. It's just going to be like standing out there. They can't miss it. There's somebody in the area and they're trapping fish. Okay. So that's the big problem there. I feel like they fit in best if you are in a group of people that's maybe in like a small body of water where there's nobody else, pretty remote, or maybe there's another group on the other side, but you all have an understanding, whatever it is. You know, that's going to be a much better place to employ the fish weirs. You can also build them with sticks. I've done both. I've built them with rocks and I've built them with sticks. But the stick method it doesn't last as long, obviously, and any kind of rise in currents is like, you know, the water level rises, especially in a river. It's just more likely to trash your sticks and freaking blow them, like open them up and bend them over and all that kind of crap. And I've had to deal with that before. So I just prefer to use rocks. But of course, all of us don't live in rocky areas. So if you have to, you could do it with sticks. I just would highly recommend that you lash the top of them together pretty tightly so that they're not going to get pushed over and that kind of stuff. Not such of a big issue when it comes to ponds and lakes. Dudes, I've had more success with the basket style fish traps. So that's where I would put my efforts first. And then, you know, if you feel like things are secure enough to go with a weir, then maybe do that later. My number 2 method is casting nets. Dudes, I love casting nets. I've caught all kinds of shit in them. They are super effective. I've caught herring, smelt, black bass, striped bass, catfish, crappie, bluegill. I've even caught a whole bunch of fish. I don't even know what the hell they were. You know, I was in a place where I didn't normally fish, traveling and stuff like that, and just tossing them out. And, you know, I usually assume that this is some kind of protective native fish, especially if they've got a sucker face, and they go back in the water. But guys, I've used the shit out of these things. They're awesome. Awesome. But there's some tricks. Obviously, you got to know how to throw them. And the best way to do that is to see a video. You'll see my video later about it. But the other tricks are that you do not want to be using them where there are snags. You'll be out there waiting out in the water, trying to untangle them or swimming to freaking pull them up. You don't want to just yank on them because you'll rip them and then you'll be repairing them later. So the big trick is to know where there's no snags and be using them there, or take the time to remove snags from a particular stretch of water so you know you can use your casting net safely in there. The other thing about casting nets is that the big fish, tend to come into the shore at certain times of the day. You have to find out when those times are. So a great way to do that is to get out with the casting net and throw it out at different times of the day and find out when you're actually catching the fish. And then going forward, oh, if I just go to the water's edge at 4:30 and throw my casting net out a few times, we got enough for dinner for everybody. Okay? They're super effective, guys. No screwing around. You probably don't want to bug out with a casting net on you. They usually come in a plastic container that's about like yay big and like that tall. They're not expensive though. They're really affordable, but they're kind of on the heavy side. They've got lead weights hanging around the outside of the ring. So you're going to be better off caching them or sticking one under the seat in your truck. Let's say you live in a place where there's a lot of fishing options out there. Stick a casting net under the seat of your truck. They're just a great way to get it done. And guys, you can also catch a lot of bait fish with a casting net if you use it in the right place at the right time. But that's really the big trick. Right place, right time. The number 3 method, guys, is going to be a trot line. Good old Hank Williams Jr. made this thing pretty popular with A Country Boy Can Survive. A lot of people had never heard of a trot line before hearing that song, to include myself. But once I heard about it, I looked it up and I was like, I'm going to go do that shit. So I did it. And guys, what it basically is it is a heavy type of line. We're talking bank line or high test braided fishing line that is run from one side of the bank to the other side of a bank. You can do this in a pond, you can do it in a lake, you can do it in a river. The goal is that this line is deep enough in the water that any boats going over the top of it aren't going to get caught on it or cut it with a propeller. And what you do is every 6 feet on the line, let's say, you put a 3-foot long leader with a hook on it. And you're going to rig that hook the same way you would rig it if you were out there fishing with a rod and reel. So you're just employing the same tactics you would use if you were fishing regularly. You're going to get out and check your trot line in the morning after the sun comes up and in the evening before the sun goes down. And basically what you do, let's say it's in a pond and the pond's fairly shallow. It's like 4 foot deep. So it's chest level. You're going to wade out there and pull the trot line up, go check each hook, refresh the bait if you need to, go check the next one, make sure you don't hook yourself. Remember, you're going to be malnourished and all that kinds of shit. And the last thing you want is some nasty ass hook to get you infected. Okay, what a shitty way to die. Like, I died and shit at the fan because I hooked myself on my trot line. We want to avoid that, so be careful. But you're going to go from one end to the other end, refresh all the bait, take any fish off of it, and bam, you're going back in. It wouldn't be a bad idea to have a dive bag with you. You know, one of the bags, mesh bags that has like a shoulder strap so you can just toss your fish in there. You could also use a stringer, you know, if you hook it to a belt or something like that. If you're using a trot line in a lake and it's pretty deep, you can wade that trot line to get it down to the bottom, and you can basically hop in a canoe or a dinghy and pull yourself along that trot line and pull it up as you go and check each individual hook that way. The 4th method is going to be Yoyo Reels. What this is, dudes, is it is a reel that's like spring loaded. And you basically rig it up by tying it to a small tree or tying it somewhere to the bank. You take it and you rig it with a hook and a weight and you toss it out in the water. And when a fish takes it and pulls on it, it triggers the trap and it starts reeling it up. Okay, so it's going to put pressure on that fish and keep it from basically taking off. Now, if you're going to use yo-yo reels, you really want to set them up on the bank in the shittiest place you can think of. And you want them to be somewhat camouflaged, guys. You know, it's not the preferred method, obviously. It's one more method you can use. But if anyone's coming up the river in a canoe, let's say, and they see that taut line out there, they're going to know someone's fishing there. If they see the yo-yo reel hanging from a tree, they're going to know someone's fishing there. if you stash them in the shittiest place you could find on the shore, somebody on shore is not likely to stumble upon it, right? Because people that are looking to either get access to the water to bathe or, get water for drinking or whatever it is, or people that are going to fish from the bank, they're looking for the easiest access. So if you're setting up your yo-yo reels in a really shitty spot, it's going to be more likely to keep them hid. Let's talk about operational security real quick when it comes to fishing. Dudes, you really want a battle buddy with you all the time and shit hit the fan. If you're going to check fish traps, guess what? You want a battle buddy with you there to watch your back. If you're going to go use your casting net, you definitely want a battle buddy there to watch your back, because now all of your attention is on casting out that net, pulling it in, and getting the fish on the shore, okay? If you are checking a trot line, you really need to have some security there. You're pulling yourself across a small lake or a portion of a lake, like a finger of it maybe, in a dinghy to check a trot line. No, you need some freaking security, man. What if some ass clown just stumbles upon this body of water and decides to take pot shots at you so he can get out there, swim out to your dinghy, get it, and check your trot line for you? We don't want that to happen, guys. So you need to have security. Same thing when setting up yo-yo reels. All right? Make sure you got security. Now let's talk about the lone wolf thing real quick, guys, because you all know that I am big on you need to be part of a group. Not all of us are going to be able to get that done. So if you are lone wolfing it, what are the best methods? These best methods. Which ones are best for you? Well, I'm going to tell you that having the fish traps and the yo-yo reels are probably going to be the two best methods for you to get out there and get this done without being completely compromised. Like, you can check your fish traps and still be armed. You still have your rifle slung. I think that throwing out a casting net while slung with a rifle would turn into an absolute clusterfuck. I got to be honest with you guys, because I've done it enough to know that it's going to get caught on basically anything you got hanging free on you. So I think that's probably going to be a no-go. But also checking the yo-yo reels, you're going to be on a really shitty part of the bank, that's like super overgrown, and people are going to be less likely to see you there. And again, you could remain armed while doing that. So that's my suggestion for the lone wolfers. I think I'm going to wrap it right there, guys. Short, sweet, to the point. Hope it wasn't too long. Like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel. Comments down below. Which of you guys have employed these methods? What do you think about them? Let's make the comment section a resource for people that are new to all this stuff. And, make sure you guys are following along, man, because I'm going to do how-tos on it down the road, and you're not going to want to miss it, all right? Also, if you like what I'm doing here on YouTube, consider supporting the channel on Patreon. There's a link in my description. I have tons more video content on there, over 3 hours at the point of filming this video. And I basically do another big info dump every 6-7 days. And they're anywhere from like 20 minutes to like 45 minutes long. So if you like to hear me talk about SHTF stuff, that's going to be a great place to hear it. And you can also ask questions and all that, and I'll get back to you. All right? That's it, dudes. I'll see you on the next one.